guys. Hey, there's my dog Abby. Just wanted to show you how cute she is and how fat she is. And she's a really good dog and she's super polite. But she is a boxer and of course a Jack Russell mix. So she's kind of a medium-sized dog. Anyway, that's my Abby. So I'm going to read to you guys. Oh, check out my intro and my exit. Like, I got this stuff figured out. I downloaded this, right? Wondershare Filmora. Let me see here. What's this called here? Wondershare. Anyway, it's really good. I'll put the link to it down there. It's free. It only took me one morning to figure it out, and it's pretty simple. Probably there will be some sort of watermark until I could pay for it. I did have an automatic video editor, which was really expensive, and I had to pay monthly for my business, but right now I think I can kind of do without that, and so but this is really good, and you know, maybe I'll switch. Anyway, I'm just going to read to you guys from this book today, right? Same one that I read the synchronicity article from. And today I'm going to read to you two little parts of it from this same chapter. The chapter is entitled Prophecies. My concern really isn't so much about prophecies. I'm just reading through this book, but this chapter has these inserts that I'm reading to you that are in relation to time. And this book was written or copyright 1982. So it's kind of helpful to look back, sort of to remove the layers of lies that we're under. There's still going to be lies back in 1982, of course, and on this planet, you know, on this dimensional Earth or whatever, this other Earth or whatever you want to call it, of course, things are changed. So, you know, but it does give a lot of food for thought, which it has for me. So, anyway, there's the book. Here are the, you know, the credits for you, for all the people that need citations, or if you want to try to find this book. So I'm going to read to you, oh, that's still citations. Two inserts in that chapter. This one is on page 20, and it's entitled The Immediate Present, and again, it does have some to do with prophecy, but there are things in here which kind of help to just kind of help to coalesce or expand our thinking, or both, our thinking on time and dimensional time and dimensional planes, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's entitled The Immediate Present. Most theories of prophecy concentrate on what are professed to be ambiguities and uncertainties in our conventional notion of what the future is, and claim that the future either unfolds in or coexists with the present. A somewhat novel approach to the problem, focusing on ambiguities in what we call the present, was proposed in 1934 by H.F. Saltmarsh. Again, it's so odd that these names sound fake to me. But moving on, Saltmarsh begins by pointing out that what we conventionally name the present is nothing of the kind. For when we perceive something, the fall of a leaf, the prick of a pin, we regard our perception and what it reveals as occurring simultaneously in time. But sensory impressions do not occur all at once. We feel the pin prick an instant after it happens. The leaf touches the ground an instant before we register the landing. For in addition to the time it takes for sensory impressions to reach our brain is the time it takes our brain to process the signals when they arrive. Thus, based on Saltmarsh's proposal, our perception of any happening is inevitably a bit later than the event itself. Consequently, we have two kinds of present. The interval between these two presents might well be considered a third level or intermediate present, in which events can occur or begin to occur. We can further conjecture that it is in this third level of time that certain people receive intimations of the future. Again, I'm not concerned with prophecy or foretelling the future, because I am a Christian. So just take a grain of salt there. Because all transitions take time, we can hardly suppose that the contents of the intermediate present pass into our awareness intact or unchanged. We can therefore say that the intermediate present, like the real present, is unavailable to ordinary consciousness, and that its contents can never be quite the same as those of our normal awareness. It is in this nether area, between an event and the perception of it, that precognition might occur. So, you know, in our perception of time, there's a lag, a time lag. You know, and it operates almost like a computer, or you know, the model is the same. So anyway, let's move on to this one. Is on page, let's see here, page 25, dimensions of time. That time has many dimensions is a concept often advanced to account for prophecy. The gist of the idea is that time, which seems to unfold in a linear way, with the past coming before the present and the present before the future, might in another dimension not be experienced sequentially. Might in another dimension not be experienced sequentially. The past, present, and future could exist simultaneously. So let me pause this because I hear my oatmeal is done. Okay, so alright, so my oatmeal's cooling. My steel cut oatmeals. Takes a little while to cool. Should be pretty good. Alright, so let's see. I was on second paragraph. Alright, the concept that there are unfamiliar dimensions of time is most easily approached by way of those dimensions with which we were already familiar, those of length, height, and breadth. These, in turn, are best approached quite literally from a starting point, which, geometrically speaking, has a location, but no dimensions. Okay? Quite literally from a starting point, which, geometrically speaking, has a location, but no dimensions. It does, however, relate to figures with dimensions in the following way. If a point is moved through space, it marks a line with the one dimension of length. If a line is moved through space, it traces the figure of a plane with the two dimensions of length and breadth. And if a plane is moved in space, it traces a figure with the three dimensions of length, breadth, and height. We can also work backward from a three-dimensional body and find that the cross-section of the three-dimensional cube is a two-dimensional plane, and that the cross-section of the plane is a one-dimensional line, and that the cross-section of the line is a dimensionless point. So here I just want to add as a sidebar that we don't always need to have a video to show us. You know, I try to teach my kids to try to visualize something like this first, you know, before you watch a video, just as a way to exercise your mind. So that's why reading is so good, because you are exercising your imagination. And if you're not reading every day, I'm really saying at this time, at this point in time, I really recommend you to just do some reading. You know, just do some reading where you have to imagine, you have to visualize. Okay? So we'll go on. Let's see, I'll be on the 5th paragraph. Okay. From this we can infer that a body of 3 dimensions is the cross-section of a body of 4 dimensions, and that a 3-dimensional body, when moved in a certain way, will produce a body of 4 dimensions. Then comes the question of what sort of body could a 3-dimensional shape be the cross-section? And in what sort of new direction could a 3-dimensional shape be moved to produce one of 4 dimensions, since a movement other than up and down, backward and forward, or side to side would simply produce a larger figure, not one of a different dimension? The answer, of course, is the feature duration. So this is 1982 thinking. For as soon as something ceases to endure, it ceases to exist. To the 3 familiar dimensions, then, we should add duration and time as a 4th dimension. Ordinarily, 3-dimensional bodies should therefore be properly described as 4-dimensional. And a body with 3 dimensions must be defined as having only length, breadth, and height, but no duration. Is such a thing possible? It is, but only hypothetically. For in fact, the point, line, and plane do not truly exist as such. Any line that can be seen has breadth, as well as length and duration, just as any physical plane has a certain thickness as well as length and breadth. What movement then must a figure of 3 dimensions undergo to produce a body of 4 dimensions? So sorry, I kind of cut that off on the picture. We moved a plane in the dimension of height to produce a cube. So the movement of a hypothetical cube in the dimension of time should produce a real figure of 4 dimensions. What does movement in the dimension of time mean? So, I think this applies to us. I don't know. As we said, it must mean movement in a new direction, not up, down, or sideways. Are there any other kinds of movement? For a start, there is the movement that the Earth's rotation imparts to everything upon it, and that puts even apparently motionless objects in motion. So I guess that is assuming the ball model of the solar system, which I guess is really in question right now. But I suppose I don't know enough about flat Earth, or hollow Earth, I guess, still supposes that the Earth is rotating. Flat Earth, I don't know. I don't know if it supposes that the Earth is rotating or the sun and moon. Anyway, to reread, for a start, there is the movement that the Earth's rotation imparts to everything upon it, and that puts even apparently motionless objects in motion. We can thus say that a 3-dimensional body is the hypothetically motionless cross-section of a real body whose 4th dimension, duration, is inseparable from the motion that the... Oh, sorry. Abby. No, Abby. Okay. It's a car across the street. Further inevitable motions of the Earth around the Sun, of the Sun around the center of the galaxy, and perhaps of the galaxy itself around some unknown point. Since any perceptible body is in fact undergoing all these motions simultaneously, we can say that everything has these dimensions, though in a way that is ordinarily imperceptible. Because motions and the dimensions they imply are only perceptible in a framework of time They can be referred to as dimensions of time. So, they're referring here to the observer principle. At the time, I don't think that the slit experiment had been done, but I don't know. So, if duration is one aspect of time, what might the others be? Among several possibilities, we can suggest appearance and disappearance. It seems like we've done that. Change and recurrence, that too, for the Mandela affected people. Of all possibilities, only duration is perceptible. When we say that something appears, we mean that we suddenly note its existence. So, we suddenly note its existence, which, I mean, that's what we're doing with some of these things. And when something disappears, we note its lack of existence. We perceive no intermediate conditioning of appearing or disappearing. In the same way, we talk of change, but actually only develop the concept as we perceive aggregates of characteristics that exist or cease to exist. Like logos, aggregates of characteristics. And so we infer but do not observe the recurrence of sunset and sunrise, the passage of seasons, the growth of a child. And yet things really do appear and disappear, change and recur, although not actually perceived to do so. They are, so to speak, hypothetical to us, and must have their reality in other dimensions of time. Just as the hypothetical three-dimensional body becomes real, that is, perceptible, in the dimension of time we call duration. If access to higher dimensions of time belongs to one body, let me repeat that. If access to higher dimensions of time belongs to one body, it is at least theoretically possible that it belongs, though invisibly, to all bodies. So that's synchronicity. That's where we see the synchronicity to show the connectedness of God's pattern. So it ties in. We can further assume that such access is by way of unfamiliar modes of levels of consciousness, and that the name we give to one of these is prophecy. And again, just to wrap up, I'm not concerned with prophecy. I'm not. So that's not the focus of my videos. But I just wanted to read to you guys out of this old book here, and wasn't that interesting? Anyway, I love you guys. My video is getting much better, and I'm just going to leave you with an exit video to attach to all my videos. And it's funny how you just get up in the morning and you make coffee and you go to listen to music and you just hear the perfect lyric, like you have a synchronicity. So anyway, love you guys. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye.
I just took a ride on a silver machine, and I'm still feeling mean. Well, do you want to ride and see yourself going by the other side of the sky, the other silver machine?